He is uniquely Arizona in all the best ways possible. A Tucson native, Rick Romley served his country and then upon returning from Vietnam, came home to serve his home state. And as we get ready to celebrate America's 250th birthday, this former county attorney wants us all to remember that we can disagree without being disagreeable. The 1960s, a time of social change and idealism. It was also a time of war. America was embroiled in the meat grinder of Vietnam. And a young Rick Romley, just a few months out of high school, walked into a Tucson Marine recruiting station and signed up. It was 1968.
You know, I joined the Marine Corps with my best friend, David Schaefer. And just a short time after I was wounded, he was killed in Vietnam. It touched me, very, very personally. You know, I named my first son after him. And so I think of that sacrifice. And not just them.
By 1969, Romley was in Da Nang, Vietnam, about as close as you could come to hell on earth.
I could have been one of those veterans that, committed suicide that too many veterans do nowadays because of my war injuries.
It was a landmine that shredded Romley's body. Both legs were gone, and he had a ton of shrapnel in his gut. Surgery after surgery would follow. But that same dogged determination that would one day make him a fierce Maricopa County attorney not only pushed him to survive, it also changed him.
I actually think I'm stronger because of those war injuries. It forced me to recognize the good, sometimes the limitations that you might have, but you become stronger and you realize that you have a strength inside of you, and hopefully it pushes you to the good side.
Vietnam left its mark on Romley, as it did so many others. But instead of succumbing to the injuries that no one could see, he instead found purpose.
You know, when you find that there's something greater than yourself, me, I had to raise my boys. I was a single parent. You begin to realize that can be the most gratifying in your entire life.
And that's the message that Rick Romley wants America to hear as we near our 250th birthday. Service and sacrifice can be life-changing. He wants his fellow Americans to listen to their hearts and not the noise.
I think take a moment and remember and reflect upon that service and sacrifice. Don't lose it. Don't give it up for the craziness of today's politics. That's not who we are as Americans. We just aren't that way. We are a giving country. We've always been that way. Just take a moment to reflect and honor those that give so much. And, if you disagree with them, okay, disagree with them. But don't hate them. Don't hate them.
It's so important right now, with America as divided as it is, to hear words from an absolute patriot and hero saying, I can disagree with you, but I don't hate you.
Yes, push it aside.
Push it aside. I mean, the families, literal families, are being torn apart over politics, and he's right. That's not who we are.
Yeah, families and friends. I love that you profiled him because he is, I feel like, just a special group of politicians but who are really respected in Arizona's history. And I remember coming here in the early 2000s, and I remember him and what he stood for as Maricopa County Attorney, and his fight in Vietnam, his battles, and how just true and he was, and just the grit and the determination to do what is right. And he was just so respected, and he still is. But just such a powerful story that you were able to capture.
And one thing I didn't know, that he was a single parent.
I didn't know
so
that
he
either.
comes back from Vietnam. He married right before he went over.
Yeah.
Comes back from Vietnam. It doesn't work out, and he winds up raising his two boys. So instead of feeling sorry for himself with his injuries and what am I going to do, and there were so many stories, Tram, of Vietnam vets, just going down the wrong path, that were injured, or maybe not injuries you could see, but injuries you couldn't see. And instead, he knew that he had to just put on his big boy pants and get to work as a parent.
a fighter in so many ways.
Yeah.
Just so great.
Great man.
Yeah.
As our country celebrates 250 years, we want to celebrate everyday Americans whose service, generosity, and resilience strengthen their communities. If you know someone who's making a difference, you can nominate them by scanning the QR code on your screen or email us at connect@12news.com.